Hey, Carl Birman here with my very special guest, my son Jared. Say hello to everybody, Jared.
Hello, everyone. How are we all doing?
Welcome to this very special episode of Coffee with Carl. So, tonight, everybody, we're talking about the World Series, which is starting in a couple of days. And let's jump right into it, Jared. The first question I have three questions for you tonight, Jared, as a baseball expert. Tell us about a World Series of the past that resonates with you. Why and what in particular was so memorable about that World Series?
Well, this was a tough question when you sent it to me, just because I haven't really been a viewer of many really great World Series. I really started locking in and watching every single game of every single World Series around 2020, 2021. So I even like 2019 Washington Nationals. That was a great team, but I wasn't really, even though I was a baseball fan, I wouldn't say I really consumed it. And actually I was able to enjoy it. But the 2021 Atlanta Braves was the team, and the World Series against the Houston Astros of that year. I thought that was a really great Atlanta Braves team, a special team. They put together their team at the trade deadline. They were under 500 at the All-Star break. And that was just a very unexpected run with their best player, their MVP candidate, who would have won the MVP if he didn't get injured, Ronald Acuna Jr. getting injured. So that was a really cool team, a very fun team to watch. Freddie Freeman getting his first World Series ring, Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler. He was so fun to watch during that run. Eddie Rosario. I really enjoyed watching the Braves team, and they beat a really great Houston Astros team. They beat a one of the better rosters assembled, in my opinion, in the 2021 Dodgers in the NLCS. So I really loved watching that team in 2021.
So let me ask you a follow-up or a couple of follow-ups. So in 2021, I guess the Astros were considered the favorite.
Yeah, they were the favorites going into the World Series.
And had the Braves done well up to prior to 2021, or were they a surprise, you know, team to punch their ticket to the Fall Classic in 2021?
They were surprised just because of their roster. They weren't that great 2021, even though they've had teams prior. Like they were a young team, like 2019, 2018 with Acuna, Albies. They made the playoffs, but they definitely weren't a team that people expected. They were again 44 and 45 at the All-Star break. So they really weren't a great team for most of the season until it
And
came to
what
October.
was the particular highlight or memory takeaway from that 2021 World Series that stays in your mind as a fan?
For me, I mean, everyone knows the clip, at least baseball fans, of the Jorge Soler. I don't know what game it was. It might have been game one. He had multiple homers in the big home runs in the series, but Jorge Soler hit a leadoff home run. I think it might have been in the clinching game, and that was a core memory. I also remember watching it on Halloween and being locked in.
And how many? What was the final in terms of how many games the Braves took to
I
beat?
think it was a 4-2. It was a 4-2 series win, and they
Cool.
won it in Houston.
And how have the Braves done since then? Because you're talking to a guy who's really not paying attention, although as your father, I should be. But how did the Braves do this year?
They had a weird year because they've had a lot of regular season success since that year, 2022 and 23. They won the division. In 23, they had one of the best teams in the regular season of the past like 10 years. They had the most home runs in the history of baseball. They had a dominant offense, dominant pitching staff as well, but they lost in the playoffs. But then this year they had a lot of injuries to the pitching staff specifically. And also Acuna got injured again this year, same injury as 2021. So they did make the playoffs. They snuck in on the last day of the season versus the Mets. And I actually like the Braves. I think if they're healthy next year, they can still go back, but haven't had much playoff success since that World
So,
Series.
Jared, you've been very modest about your, depth knowledge of baseball history, but I know that you are a passionate Yankee fan. So, the obvious question is, how does this make you feel? The Yankees are finally in the World Series, and you're 18 years old, and so this is really, I guess, your first World Series that you're truly experiencing as a fan, because the last time you were 3 years old, right? In 2009?
Yeah, 3 years old.
So how does this make you feel as a Yankee fan?
It's incredible. It's incredible. And also just this team is special. That's what makes it special. This team is special. They have had so many good moments this postseason. And especially because we're playing the Dodgers. I mean, it's really just a euphoric feeling because I mean I love the Yankees so much. And
Yeah.
I put my life into it. So like and it's just cool. I just love baseball. So it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I think anyone who saw my little clip this afternoon knows that I'm into the history. And to me, what's amazing is number one, that I believe there's been more than 30, maybe 30 matchups, I think, if I'm correct. There's been a lot of matchups between Dodgers and Yankees over the history of the World Series, and the Yankees have won more than half. But that's still a classic competition to have a World Series rivalry like this that goes back decades and decades and decades. To me, that's awesome. Do
And
you,
it is awesome, especially because they're the two best teams in the league objectively, and it's the first time two one seeds have faced off since 2020, which 2020 was the COVID year, but in a long time, and they're the two best rosters. The biggest stars, Judge and Otani. They both led the league in home runs. Judge in the AL, Otani in the NL.
Now,
So,
tell everybody again, you're getting a lot of audience here is probably not as sharp as you are on today's hot baseball stuff. So Otani, is he unique in what we're going to be watching starting Friday night as both offense and both, a pitcher who also hits.
well, he's not pitching. He hasn't pitched this season because he
Oh,
got Tommy John surgery, but.
okay.
I mean, he's been this way since 2021. Every single year, he's played a full season, and he's been the greatest player that we've ever seen over the past 4 years. So
Because of his pitching and his offense,
yeah,
or
it's he's been dominant. He's a 5 tool player, as we saw this year, him going 50-50, which is I mean he honestly probably had his I mean it wouldn't say it's not his best season, but by far his best offensive season.
uh,
Because he got the load off of pitching, stealing 50 bases and hitting 50 home runs. I mean, he's really once in a lifetime type of player that will never.
and so he hit 50-50. What does that exactly translate? What does that mean?
That's 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases.
All right. Now you mentioned Judge. So is Aaron Judge the fairest comparison to Otani for as a Yankee batter?
I mean, they're not similar at all. I mean, their power is similar, but I mean, they're different players. They're both historic hitters. And Otani being the greatest talent that we've ever seen, and Judge being one of the best hitters in the prime of his career over the past 3 years. Since 2022, Aaron Judge has been such a dominant force in the lineup.
And compared to those other seasons, is this Aaron's best year, or what would you say has been Aaron Judge's best year so far?
It's 2022 or 24. I mean, Judge's overall his OPS I think is higher this year if I'm not mistaken, but he did hit 62 home runs in 2022. I think I would probably go 22 just because of the 62 home
Okay,
runs,
two
but
quick questions there. OPS, what does that stand for?
on base plus slugging.
On base plus slugging, and that was really good in which year? This year
Yeah, I
or
mean the both years they were, but I think this year's was slightly higher. And
in home
OPS,
runs?
no, his OPS was slightly higher in 24, but he had more home runs in 2022.
What was his final number of home runs this year?
He had 58.
All right. Now moving to predictions for this series. Anyone who watches your channel, which they can find and tell us what the name of it is again.
Just my name, Jared
Jared
Birman.
Birman. Anyone who's watched your channel knows that you made a prediction, I think, early in the season. And what did you predict for the World Series?
Before the year, I said Dodgers over Yankees in 7.
And so let's hear it. What is your thought? Today is Monday of World Series week. What's your lay it on the line? What's your sense where this is headed?
Um, it's a tough question. It's a tough question because I mean, of course, I predicted the Dodgers over the Yankees before the year, but I mean, I can't pick against the Yankees. I just can't pick against the
So you're
Yankees.
going
Now
to
that
be
they're actually here.
agnostic. You're a Yankee fan, so you're going to be agnostic today.
Yeah, no, but I mean, again, I mean, before the year, I predicted the Dodgers over the Yankees. So I'm rooting for the. I mean, honestly, predictions are really just throw them out there. In my opinion, yeah. I mean, I'm just like having fun with my predictions, so I'm going to say Yankees in seven. I'm just hoping for a 7 game. I mean, I'm hoping for the Yankees to win, but a 7 game series I think is also realistic. I think this should be a competitive series.
Do you have any content planned between now and Friday so that people who want to get geared up and hear more of your thoughts should go back onto your YouTube channel between now and Friday to see updates, or can they just wait till Friday?
I mean, I have a lot of videos, so I mean, if you could, there's so much content to watch, but I'll make a preview definitely of the.
Now, obviously, you offer both a breakdown and what's the other type of show that you offer during
I
the
really it's mainly just breakdowns, but then during the playoffs, I like to do the recaps, and then I also like to do the live radio broadcast, which I want to do. I want to do during the World. I want to do a live radio broadcast for one of the games
By the way, anyone who doesn't know you well, where exactly are you recording right now?
in my dorm room.
Well, what city? What city are we in?
That's SUNY Oswego.
And who is that adorable cat sitting there to your left?
His name is Tyler.
Well, hey Tyler. Hey Tyler. I'm actually Tyler's granddad, so it
Yeah,
looks like he's falling asleep right now. Is he being a
yeah,
good boy?
he's being a great guy.
Excellent. So, last question, Jared. Um, what kind of unlikely things happened in the 2024 MLB playoffs so far?
I said, well, you asked the most unlikely outcome, which I mean the Mets is the most obvious one that everyone would say, but I said the Astros getting upsetted just because I thought, I mean the Tigers were a good team, but the Astros, if they beat the Tigers, I thought the Stros had a pretty easy route to the ALCS, even though I did predict the Tigers to beat the Astros just as like an impulsive playoff prediction. Let's just predict an upset, but the Astros had a good team. It wasn't a great team. As better like compared to the 22 World Series team. They had a better team that year, but the Astros still, they could have easily, they should have beaten the Guardians and the Tigers en route to an ALCS where they could have beaten the Yankees, as we've seen over the past since like 2017. They've owned the Yankees in the playoffs, so that was surprising for me.
Surprising, but in a good way, because here your favorite team got got to get past
I
that
guess
conflict.
I still think the Yankees would have beaten the Astros, but again, the Astros typically have played incredible
Great,
against the Yankees.
understood. Now, if people want to send you free tickets to the World Series, can they contact you through your YouTube channel?
No, I'm not taking any. No, I would never take that
Okay.
because it would be a
Um,
scam. It would be a scam.
you can forward them to me then. I mean, you realize this is a historic series, and you haven't
I,
mentioned that, but as an old man, I gotta put in a plug here for the old timers. The last time the Yankees and the Dodgers were head to head in the Fall Classic was 1981. The Dodgers won, I believe, in six. Am I right?
I think the Yankees won. I'm not
I
sure.
just chatted with somebody earlier today who reminded me that the Dodgers beat us, I think, in 81.
Oh yeah, no, they did. They did.
Okay. And before that was either 77 or 78. And I think that's when Reggie Jackson helped the Yankees get the world championship. So there's just an enormously rich history here, a rivalry between these two teams, correct?
I mean, yeah, of course. This is what baseball needs as well, which I'm excited for. Coming off of a World Series where there was not a lot of viewership, I mean, the two biggest markets, a historic matchup. This is everything baseball needs.
Well, we've covered all my topics very quickly, so we have a couple minutes left. Is there anything that you want to say? Because you're reaching a different audience today, people on my Facebook, LinkedIn, other than just subscribing and liking your Jared Birman content on YouTube. Anything else you want to say about yourself?
If you're ever in a situation where you potentially um, did a crime, Carl Berman is always going to work hard for you. And
Jared, that was a very graceful comeback because I was trying to keep the spotlight on you, and I'm minimized here. I mean, they can barely see me, and that was a very gracious shout out to your dad. True, I am a a criminal and family attorney, but tonight we're making the content all about baseball.
Yeah.
So
Where are you based? You're based in Albany, New York.
correct, but I do cover the whole state. I've had cases as far west as Chenango County Supreme Court. Um, I've also had cases as far east as Suffolk County on Long Island. Um, I'm happy to go up further north, like up to Canadian border near Plattsburgh, if somebody needs me up that a ways. And the beauty of being in Albany is, you're 3 hours from Montreal, you're 3 hours from Buffalo, well, Rochester, 3.5 hours from New York City. So we're centrally located. Jared is a bright shining star at SUNY Oswego. Go Lakers! That's a great school. We're really proud that you're a Laker, and maybe we'll check back with you during the World Series if we both have time, Jared. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. See you guys next time.